one in the marketing strategy, because if people are sticking up free videos on YouTube for alternate reasons other than profit, then that's something you've got to compete with directly. But I imagine, because we have to make a profit out of this, because it's going in all our hours. So
I saw another one for 350 quid.
Really?
But it was weird. I don't know. I didn't really know what I was looking at, to be honest.
That's fair enough. I'm sure we're going to find something. Okay. Right. Casey, do you mind taking a minute?
On it. Is that I can hear music? No one hear?
Yeah, that'd be my
Oh. Okay, how's that? Am I hearing things? I thought it was mine, I'm like listening to things. I don't want to run your battery die. Hello?
Oh, you found your phone.
Right. For company names, I reckon it's probably something best if we can abbreviate it. So
I thought like single strong words, something quite catchy but not too long. So like connection or action.
Sounds good.
Like something quite
connection. I'm joking, that's just a joke.
Oh, by the way, that's my company name for my advert group. It's connection.
Connecting.
World Connect.
Yeah.
Worlds Connect.
Worlds Connect, I quite like that. But then it spells WC, which means Twitter.
Only over here.
Yeah. Wait, okay, number one, world, what is it, World Connect?
Connect
Should
World
I just
then.
do the minutes?
Do you Connect World then, CW?
Yeah.
To free you up?
If that's okay, I'm just going to write down all of our names. So if you minute this, it's sort of company name brainstorm.
Yeah. But I can have them all on here, because that just frees you up.
Oh, okay. Go on then. Okay, World Connect or Connect World. Yeah, that works. I'd quite like to get culture in there. Culture Connect.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's probably.
I like that, and I can imagine the logo with CC on it. That's quite good.
Culture Unison, culture.
CC with like a global planet in the background.
Yeah, and you can have one at the top, one at the bottom going.
Yeah, there you go. That's that's perfect.
Culture Connect.
Alright.
CC with a.
Let's not dwell on it, and let's just choose it.
Okay.
I don't think.
Do you want to cast a vote, or what do you reckon? World Connect, Culture Connect.
I would say Cultural Connect.
Okay.
I quite like that.
Sure.
Are we doing a logo?
I don't know.
No, I don't think you need to do a logo,
but I don't think we should spend too much time as well, like thinking of the actual name.
We could put it on on the poster. Well, I don't know whoever's got art. Get a global thing and then CC. It's not even art. It's not.
It's just copy and
paste.
paste.
Copy and paste. I was like,
Give it a paste.
Yeah. Copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be quite good.
That works nicely.
Like in the top right or something, or in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, that's next to your poster.
Yeah.
Carolina says she would mind taking the lead on the poster, sorry.
Oh, good.
Instead of all of us just going like, yeah, why don't you throw this on, throw this on.
No, I can't let them.
Okay, so right, that's the first point of our agenda done. We're all happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Culture Connect. Or Connect Culture.
Cultural Connect.
Yeah. It's like
Sure.
Connect Culture it doesn't flow as well.
Okay.
Culture Connect or Cultural Connect?
Culture Connect.
Or Cultural
Because
Connection?
culture is just an F, isn't it?
Cultural Connection?
I think just Cultural Connect. No, Cultural Connect.
Culture or cultural?
Cultural Connect.
Cultural Connect.
I think it's going to be Cultural Connection.
Yeah, or Culture Connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have half of the other one.
Cultural Connection. Does that sound better than Culture Connect?
I quite like Cultural Connection, to be honest.
I like
Cultural Connect.
the longer sound of it.
Cultural Connection.
Cultural Connection.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Oh no. Almost. That's my mistake.
Oh my goodness. Right, we've got an outline of the marketing strategy. Have you got it on you? Do you mind if I put it up again?
Haven't you?
Yeah,
I think
I've got
I
marketing strategy.
post it on Facebook.
Yes. Here we go.
Okay, so what kind of let's have a quick look. from this, what would you say the main points are?
Well, myself as someone that actually didn't write it, and as I just want to make a comment, I really like the product bit, and
Not
I think
I can't really remember what I wrote.
That's fine.
you actually quite like deeply focused on the cultural groups and like explaining deeply what are we going to do, what is the product about. Good place, obviously you only have incentives which we'll need to work on, but I understand, you know. Price, once again, wasn't sure what price will.
But that's fine. That's something really.
To be honest, I would be actually liking the price. I think $49.99 is.
Yeah, I mean it's
psychological price.
Yeah, I mean the actual pricing is good because they've got all kinds of theory about pricing something at £49.99 as opposed to £50. But if it's accurate or not is something else we need to look at.
No, well, technically, we selling it. The way I'm thinking about it is we selling it to big companies. There needs to be a difference between all the free videos that are posted on YouTube and our professionally made.
Because sometimes big companies want to pay money.
Exactly.
50 quid to them or 40.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I think I made a point about that. I think I made a point about that.
Yeah, what is £50?
They just, I guess, have to say value.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, equally we could give away a free training video, but then it's not going to be sort of properly authorised, right?
I think I wrote something about that in there.
With promotion, I would stick much more promotions than I would probably go deeply into it. So like the promotions we're going to use, and then put much more into it.
Okay, so should we have a quick brainstorm about what kind of promotion we can use? So that's something you can add to.
Okay.
Okay, in terms of promotion, what have we got already? Advertising products will pop up on the site, business articles on the internet as well as journals. On top of this, we will put the newspapers, especially business papers, in the target market. The businessmen are likely to read and hopefully take note and spread the message to the rest of his or her business. Okay, so that's sort of like specific targeting, which is really good.
But what I would like say as well, I would probably actually form that in a different way. So I would have each of the promotions like in separate paragraphs and go a bit more into deep with the promotion. So like what kind of benefits are we going to get for using this promotion?
Yeah.
What are the strengths of the video being promoted this way?
Yeah, I think because obviously when it actually comes to putting a report together, this is going to have to be like bulked up, we're going to go in depth and stuff. But that's probably a good starting point. If you choose, okay, so we've got separate articles on the pop-ups on the internet, which will obviously be targeted at people who are looking at that kind of stuff already. So that's one entity of it. You've got your pop-ups, and then you've got another one, obviously the Financial Times, stuff like that in newspapers. I was guessing what you were targeting there. And then business magazines is also another, probably one of the main outlets that we would resource it other than the internet.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly reaching the target market we're trying to sell it to. So that's a good point. I'd probably say when it comes to writing, I'd focus on mainly the business magazines, stuff like Forbes and all that.
Well, I should have a look and see what.
Yeah.
What I would also say is that from
I was just a bit stuck with
marketing point of view,
we
shouldn't use anything like TV, radio, anything like that, because it doesn't appeal to the public. But I would actually write that as well.
Also, it's highly expensive to advertise on TV and radio, whereas a newspaper column or even a page, if you wanted to go that far, is much cheaper than doing a broad TV advertising campaign. You have to run 2 or 3 adverts a day, sort of thing.
But I would still put that down. That's the reason why we have not decided to go for the more popular promotional methods is because, and then say TV adverts or this or that. Because in that case, obviously it's relevant, and it just gives us more writing, you know. Because the report is going to be.
So as 2,500.
So.
Yeah, but we're sticking all of that in appendix, I think.
Yeah, as a layout, I would say these are the mainstream advertising outlets we want to focus on. So the internet is a main one, and then also the magazine. Then you can also go on and say, like Ariel said, we don't want to use stuff like TV and radio because that is firstly it focuses on too broad an audience, and also it's way too expensive to advertise. Like it doesn't make any financial sense to do so.
Okay, so once I start talking about the business journals, I understand that, but then do you want to make it even broader? That's where I struggle, because I did actually think about things like that. I'm struggling to make it. I mean, my marketing plans would probably about double that. Would you say?
Yeah,
probably. Double.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I do.
I mean, this is all I was really looking for from you
Yeah.
at the moment, was just a really brief overview of what you think we need to go
Yeah.
marketing wise for it.
And I think you're going in the right direction as well.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
mean-
all, you just need to add bits into it. You don't need to like, oh, delete all of that and write it. No,
Jack's
it's
assignment
brilliant.
too, I think helps really, that was a good assignment.
Yes.
What?
You know.
Actually, she's probably not going to see that, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
No, yeah.
But when she's in the room, you can't
When
talk
you
about
actually
that
look at the
stuff.
marketing plan that they provided, what I would recommend you actually read it through.
Yeah.
Because they made so many points that myself, I would
Is that on
come up
the-
with. Yes.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Google Drive. If you go on there,
And
if
it's
you-
like 10
How
pages.
do you get on Google Drive?
I'll tell you what,
confuses me. It's
I've
really
got it as an email. So I'll just link it straight to you. I'll email it straight to you so you can see it.
My Grpou account?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So you check that, and then
Did everyone get an email though?
no, because before we chose before we chose culture, I emailed Jack the night before saying, I've emailed everyone saying, oh, what topic would you like to choose, and I let you guys know that Jack's got this stuff, and he sent it straight to me, and I gave a quick
Yeah.
read through, and it's really
But
like
then,
in
if
depth.
we're gonna use Google, you probably should learn how to use it.
Yeah, how?
I
So
mean,
it's just that ribbon up the top of your email, it says.
On the Brooks one?
Yeah.
It says just drive.
It says you know,
Drive.
yeah.
You got it on there?
basically.
Have you got it on? I'll see it. Because I was looking for it and I just.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do as well. As we use it, because we obviously said we're going to use Google Drive for the documents as well as Facebook to like let people know I
Yeah.
uploaded
That's how,
something.
yeah, that's how I put it
To
on
make
Facebook.
to make a start, I'm going to take all the documents that have been posted, like your minutes, for example, that have been posted to Google Drive, and I'll post it on Facebook. Because everyone are in the group now.
But can we not just learn to just try and use one? Otherwise there's gotta be, that's when you open up to, well, I didn't see it because we put it in two
Yeah,
places.
that's-
I think we just need a
I'm-
central
confusion, yeah.
place.
I'm kind of a case on that. I'd rather we use Facebook as a way to message each other about, like, say you needed someone's help.
Yeah.
If you just say on Facebook, oh, I've got this document, would you mind reading it over?
Okay.
Then that's fine. But if you actually want to put work up there that you've got so far, I'd rather you put it on Google Drive.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's just easier to see. I mean, it's not being funny, but it's not
I'll
that
show you how it
difficult to
works.
use.
Mm.
I mean,
I
once
couldn't
you
see it.
understand how to get on
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
it's really simple, and you'll find when uploading a document, you can literally just click. There's an option on there saying upload Word document or something, whatever you can do it, you just click it and it goes straight up onto there. We can all
Yeah.
see it. It's just much better for working, but I don't mind having people use Facebook to get your attention or anything like that.
Mm.
That's fine, but I don't really want you putting a load of work up on Facebook and saying, and us not being able to find it because it's on Facebook and not
Oh
Google
yeah,
Drive, you know
I
what I mean?
understand that.
Yeah, that's, I put that on Facebook. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't know how else to.
I mean, that's
I think
that's
I
fine for now,
uploaded
but-
it though onto
Drive. Yes,
Drive.
you did. Because
Yeah.
I only checked the Drive, and it was there.
Yeah, so I'd rather we did that. Sorry if it was a bit of a pain, but it
Yeah,
works out better.
I'll
in the
have to
long
get
run.
some explained.
Yeah, I've got it up here for you just to see. So up the top here,
Right.
you've got like all your options, calendar and what have you. You'll probably have, you'll have it already up there, but you're just gonna go more, drive.
That's it. And then yeah, but
And
then
then-
you need to go to links that people shared with you.
But it comes up and shows you.
And
all
then
that,
you've
doesn't
got
it?
what's
I need to
Oh.
press
what's for
online,
shared.
press what
And
has
it
been
should
shared,
become.
and then that comes
Oh
up.
yeah, you go on because it'll start coming up with your.
Is that one of our
Yeah,
stuff so
yeah,
far?
is that,
Download, it
is
says
that
share.
everything? Well, it'll come like your shared, or things that are shared with you.
Yeah.
There'll be like an option on the side here that you can navigate through. So it'll have like, cause it's on my mobile, like on the iPad, it's gonna look different to a PC.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna have like options
It's
and
easier on
folders
PC.
on the
You'll
side.
see along the side somewhere here on your PC. It will say My Google Drive, and below it there'll be a bunch of tabs, and one of them should say Shared. And because we're all in a group together, if you hit Shared, it will show you all the stuff that we've shared with each other on that, and it'll come up in front of you all the different documents. It's already on there. And then from there, it's really easy. You'll be able to work out from there. It's like
I can
using
originally get to
Microsoft Word.
Google Drive from the Brooks email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
all
You can
I've got
sign
that.
into
And
your
there
email.
will also be like compose, and you can press compose and start a document and just
Yeah.
write it on there.
So that's what you do to upload something. You hit compose, and then you can if it's something.
Well, I
that
go
you've
on
got
Google Drive and then compose. Or-
Yeah, you can start it on compose.
But I mean, you can
Or
already have it.
upload
You
it.
can already have it as a hey Jack. You can already have it as a Word document, and then all you got to do is hit compose and then upload file, and put it straight on there like that.
Okay.
I mean, you
Yeah.
don't actually have to write it out on
Oh yeah, so,
Google
so you
Drive.
can save the file. Okay.
Yeah. How's it going?
Not too bad.
Um, yeah.
So-
Anything else that anyone would like to put on the agenda now, or any other issues?
I thought you guys are supposed to get MTBA results. Have you guys
No,
heard?
we just
Not-
did,
not-
we
not
just
this
did the
week.
test now.
Oh, right,
I
okay.
think we might get it next week or the week after, I don't know.
No, the
Oh,
zeros
you've
aren't
already
here.
done it though.
Yeah, you can do it right now actually.
No, I already opened mine.
Oh, alright, okay.
Yeah, you need the
I am
question,
very
you need the
much.
question book for that. But Jack, you probably already got your results from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it.
When did you do it?
Last semester.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've got a name for it, Jack.
Oh, okay.
We came up with what was it? Cultural connection.
Cultural connection.
Alright, okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
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 Cool. Yeah, because we didn't want to use multicultural management. and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think it's very nice and catchy. I like that.
What is
name.
it called?
Cultural connection.
Cultural connection.
Yeah.
Alright.
In terms of where we're going now, I mean, we've got a rough outline of the marketing strategy. I was thinking, obviously, if you need help, Jack's got. If you need help in the layout and what kind of other stuff you should be writing about, have a quick read through of your section.
It's on
Jack's
Google
work.
Drive.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's
Have-
very helpful.
Have a quick.
Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
have.
really
I mean, it's really well laid out. So for instance, if you're doing marketing thing, he's got a
Yeah.
section on there that literally just says
Yeah, yeah.
marketing. Just go through that and like copy. We don't need to copy, but look at some of the ideas and what he's talking about in like before, and then just integrate that into what we're trying to do now.
Yeah.
Obviously, not like don't take whole chunks out of the text.
No.
Because that won't work. But it's in terms of the layout and the content what's there, it's quite a good template to have.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of where we're going now, I'm not sure whether we should start thinking about the approach of the video.
Yeah,
Oh, I think
filming.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
filming.
I was thinking, I mean, do we want it just to be sort of a relaying information, or would you rather act out sort of like a progression from not being able to work with multicultural people to, in kind of a funny way, to having everyone working in unison, if you know what I mean? So for example, we could use like a language barrier, or to start
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
and then we could say like, this is how we help overcome. You find sort of common interests and common work styles. Would you rather go through it like that, or would you rather say these are the key areas in culture which hinder or help performance? And this is how you
I
can
think the
protect
I think the first one.
First one should be better.
And the second
Okay.
one, but yeah.
Oh, wait, no. The first one was purely informative. So
Yeah.
where you just say, these are the issues we're dealing with, and the second one was, would you rather have like a role play?
Oh no,
Oh,
I would go
role play.
second.
Role play.
I would go second, role play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
It's more natural, isn't it?
can throw it in because obviously we're gonna have to talk. We can't just make a video and expect everyone to understand what we're trying to get at. I quite like it to be. So I mean, it can be kind of. I don't know whether we should try and make it a little bit funny.
See, I meant to say that. Right, I had this idea. Why don't we actually don't get point one and point two that you just said together?
Yeah,
So give a bit of flair in the beginning, saying the most common problem in cultural behavior or whatever is this, and then have the role play, which is
Yeah.
like a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
then you've got the flair. Sorry, I can never pronounce that word properly. Then you actually have the example, which makes it clear for everyone.
Yeah.
And we could also make it a bit funny, so then everyone actually remembers it. Everyone actually, people will like, for example, laugh and remember, oh, that was that group that done this and that.
Yeah.
Instead of, just
That's what I
sitting
mean,
down
I mean-
and saying, right, this is the main problem that we would like.
I think like half of it would be trying to make it eye-catching. I think if we just did a purely informative video of us sitting around the room trying to discuss, what's different about culture, like why can't we work together, what can we work together on, and stuff like that. I think it'd just be a bit dry.
Yeah.
Whereas if we try and put like a little bit of a funny twist on it, I think it's gonna score better for one, and I think it's gonna be more fun for us to do.
Exactly. We could even make like a fun twist by the actual clothes we wear or something, I don't
So
know.
You can come in like native dress and come in one of those like Buckingham Palace Guard outfits,
It's
like
like a
a
picture
like
in the morning.
a beaver hat on, yeah. But I think that's going over the top. But you guys,
Are you guys recording?
yeah.
Oh, right,
everything's
okay, I
recorded.
didn't know, okay.
Hopefully it's still working. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's way over the top, but is that an idea we wouldn't mind doing? Sort of. obviously we can create a mock workplace and something
Yeah.
like this.
And
be
that,
like,
that idea we still think it's going to float with our audience we're trying to target.
what do you mean?
Like is it,
With
we're going
businesses.
to make it funny but still serious enough for actually people
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
buy it.
I was thinking like we do it in the style where we're saying stuff like, oh, the key areas of like cultural like boundaries as it were in a workplace are these, and then we say like we suggest like a reasonable way. So we come up with an idea where we obviously go through this progression from not being able to work with each other where we can work with each other.
Yeah.
But on a professional level, but also make it quite funny, if you know what I mean. So like subtly, if some of the commentary and stuff is quite like over projected and a bit like sarcastic.
We could actually have one person being like the person which is going to be the serious one and actually read down the theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could have the other people just doing the role plays way.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be such a bad thing as if we started off with the beginning of our role play, and then every now and then when it comes to like an interjection, we could cut to someone talking about like this is the issue, this is the ways how you overcome it,
Yeah.
and then you move
Yeah,
on to
that's
how
right.
that's helped, and then you get to another issue, and then you have someone else talk about more of the theory, and then it comes back to the video at the end, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think that works better than sort of one half of it being this is what we're going to do, and then the second half is moving. Whereas if you take them through, sort of you kind of mix in the boring stuff with the funny stuff. You know what I mean? I think that'd be quite a good idea.
Also, you don't realise how long 10 minutes actually is. It's
The video is only 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes.
Yeah,
It's 10 minutes of us talking about it. So actually, what we need to discuss within the video isn't. We don't have to go into any detail at all. We'll say, this is an issue in communication. How would you overcome that in culture? And then we do a little bit on that, sort of a 10, 15-second thing about how you'd overcome that. We use a couple points of theory, which we'll be able to get from the research, and then we move back into the video. But then we start elaborating on what we actually found through like managing culture, I guess, afterwards in the 10 minutes when we actually can talk about it when we give the presentation.
Well, for next week then, should all of us actually come up with the possible barriers of communication in the cultural environment? Like, should all of us actually come up with some ideas? Obviously, language is the common one,
Yeah,
but there are 100 others
Punctuality.
to cover.
If you're
Right.
talking
All the
about
video,
it,
yeah.
I mean, the difference, you know, like, there's some people like, it's not as if the way they talk alone, but the way, like, in my country, if you're like, talking to someone like, man like this, so we think you're calling him dog, and you know, like, because there was time was at work, and someone was like, and the guy was like, I'm not a dog, you don't fuck, not being
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
So the way people think at work at times, like even they take things more personal. You can just talk to the person, oh, you don't do this, or you person,
Yeah.
and the person is not aware, but it's
Yeah.
personal.
I mean that's the thing. Like
Yeah, that's
a lot of
right.
cultures you take for granted, like what we would consider just a bit like, oh hey, I'm trying to grab your attention, is a bit like it could be seen as you talking down to someone. I mean that's about
I
it.
know.
Because if you're constantly thinking in a workplace, oh he keeps talking down to me, he keeps talking down to me, the other guy doesn't understand what he's doing wrong. That's an issue you have to address.
Even the eye contact.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. Global business last year.
Yeah.
So if you look at someone, if you're looking in someone's eyes, that's also seen as implied rude.
Really?
Yeah, in some.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in some. I
I'm
know.
not sure. It might be.
China.
Yeah, China.
Or
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
well,
with us. If you're
China or
looking-
Japan. If you greet someone you
yeah.
don't know and you try and talk at them, I think
It's rude.
I think it's deemed really rude.
It's
But
very
then in
funny.
England, if you're not looking at them, it seems implied.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because
so there's
when I
always
got
that
my
barrier,
job,
because
my
you're like,
manager
oh,
was
what's
talking
going on?
to me, and I was not supposed to look at his face. But he was angry because in Africa, if you are talking to you, you're not supposed to look at that person, you have to look down. So
Yeah.
I was like this, but he was angry. So my sister and I explained to him that that was how I was brought
that's
up.
what you should
But
do.
I was
That's a good
supposed to
example.
look at him and okay, but I was like, okay, and he
Yeah.
was mad at me.
Yeah. I mean that probably happens all the time.
And the other thing too is identifying it's one thing, but then it's, you go get into the habit.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you'd probably already like keep going, reverting back to looking down when you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I remember.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to.
But that's the thing. Like once someone
It's
knows
like
that
making
about you,
habits too. I think we have to like focus on in our.
I think that's quite a good key topic. Is
So should we each have a topic for next week, or have a broad, for example,
Can-
language?
Yeah, I mean, just
Wait,
come
like-
up with any barriers that you
Yeah.
How many
personally
barriers do we
experience.
need? Like 5?
Five
to
or
10?
six.
And we
yeah.
keep brainstorming. We've got time to keep brainstorming
5 to
now,
10.
so if we just keep the
Yeah.
discussion going.
Alright.
Okay, so obviously we've got language. Language is obviously a key one.
Language and
Eye contact.
Like you've got eye contact,
language.
social
Something to
interaction,
do with
yeah,
handshakes, handshake.
yeah, greetings.
The distance between,
Distance.
Yeah.
like personal
Yeah.
distance.
Let me get my Hofstadter thing. Right. Look, these are the key issues that
Appropriate where?
that Hofstadter thinks
In
are in
language
culture.
is same thing with communication.
Yeah. Right. Hofstadter says that the key differences, or he breaks them up into 5 different categories, and one of them is power distance, which he defined as this dimension deals with the fact that all individuals and societies are not equal. It expresses the attitude of culture towards its inequalities. So, say, like the gulf in society is one way of measuring someone's culture, he's saying, and the way that you deal with that is a cultural boundary. Because say you're used to being someone of a high class in a country where the high class don't speak to the low class, and all of a sudden you go into an office with someone who you deem to be a low class just because that's how your culture reflects, and you wouldn't end up communicating with them on that basis. But that's something that you'd have to understand before you can move past it. Because obviously, I think most people would agree that wherever you're working, you generally have to accept the culture of that country that you're in. So say I was in Malaysia, I wouldn't be able to go in there and be my Western self because I'd probably be shy. Whereas when you're working in England, it's you kind of have to negotiate what you know and then try and
adapt.
adapt.
Give and take,
Adapt is the word I was looking for. To meet their culture more necessarily. So we could say one of the key points in the video is depending. I reckon one of the key issues you have to address is accepting the culture that you're living in. Is a good starting place, because if you're there, it's probably easier for younger people to do than older people, but I guess that's also part of our target audience, what we can discuss with target audience. But trying to accept the culture that you live in first up is probably where you'd start.
Maybe they
breaking down
also need to
cultural
do like
boundaries.
an information session. They need to identify to their employees, this is our culture, because they might not be aware coming here.
Yeah.
These are our norms, these are...
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I asked people if they could do this, because you can see the differences. Like here, it gives me a graph of where I rank and all this stuff. And this is generally the UK's culture. In the power distance, I think we have quite. I'll have to check how this is all scored, but it's
high and low.
yeah. Okay, so individualism
Yeah,
is really high on this. And individualism, the fundamental issue addressed by this dimension is the degree of independence society maintains amongst its members. So being from the UK, I can tell you that we score highly on that because everyone is very much in, for themselves. Like you walk past someone in the street, you might make eye contact, but they're not going to say anything to you. And some people might think that's weird or rude. Yeah. Whereas I know in Africa it's much more sort of community based. You kind of speak to a lot of people in the day. You go out throughout. You might pass them on the street. You might go and have a meal with them or something like that. I don't know if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's much more friendly and warming and community based than it is in the UK, which will reflect on here. So it's all part of understanding the differences. So I guess the first step would be understanding the culture you live in, and then understanding the cultures you have around you and how they differ. Because I think most of that once you understand. So let's take your looking up or looking down example when you're being told off. If someone understands that your natural instinct is just to look down and kind of accept what goes on, then they're going to be much less wound up by the fact you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? So that part, I think, understanding is probably the key start to where we need to be. But there's other things like masculinity, femininity, sort of who's more dominant and all this kind of stuff. It's quite interesting, but it's also quite generalistic and outdated.
Well, definitely we could use that as an example, couldn't we? We could use same as we done on the global cultural thing. Take 3 countries and show the difference with between the
Yeah.
three countries.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take the ones which differ in the most places.
Exactly. Or if not, take obviously the countries we've got in the group.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 3 different continents here. We've got, well, 4 actually. We've got Australasia.
We can make it like, look,
Australia.
Yeah.
with on the poster with, as I said, you know, I love my map. We
Yeah.
could go, well, over here, this happens, and
Yeah, you could
in
flip
Africa,
right the way around. Yeah, so you've got Asia, Africa, Europe,
America,
Australasia.
Yeah, it's just quite easy to.
Naomi's from Belgium, isn't she? So that's the Europe.
Yeah.
Belgium.
Yeah, she's from Belgium. Isn't she?
Yeah. Origin.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we've got a good diversity of cultures we want to speak about.
Yeah. And we could actually use the cultures within obviously our group, because then we can relate that into,
Exactly.
you know, we have personal experiences, so that makes the work more reliable instead of just taking countries which none of us actually visited before and never experienced.
So what is the work that we want to have for next week? Which way are we going to go about it? Are we going to go?
Yeah, where do you guys want to
Are we going to have 5 points each, or are we going to go you language, you?
I think we just.
I would just try and come up with sort of any kind of boundaries you've had with different cultures, just anything you can think of really, and then we'll try and we'll get together and we'll relate.
Unless we try and make like a plan of the video and then just try and incorporate it and talk, because that will have everything we want to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will
But
actually put everything together, so we don't like run off to different topics and lose time.
Yeah.
We'll just focus on what needs to be done.
So what should we call it? Culture.
It's, cultural connects, no?
No, what we look at, like different ways of. Do you know what I'm trying to get at?
Okay.
Like different. Understand.
Cultural diversity.
Barriers.
Yeah, also
Cultural
barriers.
Yeah.
Cultural barriers.
Just so I can get like a starting point.
And I'd put the link for this test too online on the drive, so you can have a look at that.
Right, thank you.
In meantime, what I can do is I can print out the actual profiles of all of the countries we've got. So UK, obviously,
Yeah.
Poland, Nigeria,
Malaysia,
Belgium, Malaysia, and I
Australia.
can print that out so we can actually look into the. Oh, that's already linked
Yeah.
into the video, isn't it?
Because I mean, the most important stuff of this, apart from like understanding what this means, is the actual graph.
Yeah.
Because it's a visual way of showing you exactly
we
like
can
how different cultures can be in
compare it then.
aspects. Yeah. I mean, we could say as like an opening point, like, look, using Hofstede's tool, this is how different cultures can be. So it's no surprise that there is
Yeah.
like miscommunication, misunderstanding in a workplace where you have a team of 7 people who are all from different places. Not to mention when you have sort of video conferences when they're all in different worlds, different countries. So, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say it's just a good way of comparing everything. So it helps people in our video, will help people understand, you know, how different it can all be.
And it's definitely a reliable source as well, which makes it good to actually include
Yeah.
on the report,
Mhm.
because we can reference it very well.
Yeah.
It's not like we're using a actual website which, you know, is just like someone wrote an article ages ago. It's,
Yeah.
it makes
I mean, there are some drawbacks, but I mean, stuff like you might think that you don't necessarily fit the stereotype of your culture that
Yeah.
comes up, but you might think, well, actually, I'm not.
Should
really
we say
like
that? Could we say that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That'd
That's,
be an evaluative or an analytical point. You could say
Yeah.
like we've used this as a general guide to see how, I don't know, 60-70% of the people within this country act.
Yeah.
But you might say it doesn't incorporate individual differences, which is something that's quite important.
Yeah.
Probably is also a good thing to mention. In terms of the boundaries, I think if we can all come up with, so I don't know, like 4 or 5 things you can think of which act as boundaries between people communicating, then we'll get together and we'll have a look at the main ones, because I imagine there's going to be most of us are going to come up with similar things.
Yeah.
So we can identify which ones we all think from different cultures
Yeah.
provide like the most conflict.
But at the same
Then we
time,
put it
when
together
you
and
look
have
into the
ways,
bodies,
And then they'll be our focus areas and try and solve.
And that's where we can get the whole report going.
Yeah.
So
So we concentrate on a few of the key issues in culture rather than trying to go through every little thing that culture can, you know, bring up. I think it's probably a better way of doing it, or else we're just going to spend ages and ages and ages trying to research and address different
Yeah.
issues.
Right.
So that'll be the first thing that you guys can do now.
I'm going to start on the poster.
Yeah.
Because we've got the name.
Yeah. Cultural connection.
Yeah.
How do you came up with this name?
Also
We
arrange
just
the
it started off with World Connect.
Alright,
which was
okay.
quite nice. And I thought I quite wanted the word culture in there as well, which
Yeah.
turned
And then
into
world when and
I
then
think it's
Yeah,
alright.
culture
Yeah, should be alright,
connection.
should be alright. Cultural connection.
Yeah. I mean, off the top of anyone's head, is there anything that they find really different? I mean, I'm speaking to the guys who aren't from the UK, really. Anything really different about living over here that you found from home?
Or how am I different to
No, I
your
mean,
friends?
yeah.
No, like, or mean how are we different to your friends back home?
Yeah.
Or
My friend back home don't have views.
But I think too it's hard to compare, well, I haven't, not, this isn't really a work environment, like this is different to actually being employed by a company.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I much, like, Australia's not much different, but it's hard just to think of things in this situation, in this environment right now.
Yeah.
So at least you
I
have
mean,
your
I
experience
just-
from
I
your
just-
boss,
I
which is
kind of-
really good to draw upon.
Yeah. I can't imagine just kind of everyday life, what the things, because
Typical
I bet
stereotypes.
whatever you found in everyday life would still crop up in the workplace as well.
yeah.
So I know Australia hasn't got a language barrier. I mean, what's it like trying to speak English when your native tongue is Polish?
Oh, well, technically English, obviously, we got English in school, so
Yeah.
it's not like, it's, well, technically, a lot of Polish people speak English, so it's not
Yeah.
not much of a difference from here either.
Are we quite patient people, or do we come across as quite rude, or?
No, it's alright, I guess.
I'm
It'll
trying
be
to
the
think
slang, it'll be the slang accent, you know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
problem. And also, although the biggest barrier for me was that although I have finished 8 years of obviously English at school, I came in here and I could not speak English. I had literally E's from my GCSEs because I found it so difficult. None of the, like the way they actually, when you in Poland in school and you have an English lesson, they teach you all of the 27 times that you use, which technically you don't use any of them. You use
27.
three.
27 what is that?
Tenses.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
There's tenses.
Yes,
Past,
like-
present, future.
Oh,
Yeah, all
don't
past.
ask
That's
me
it,
now.
that's three.
I think it's like third person, first person,
Yes,
fourth
and
person.
it's, you know, they
I don't, we don't even
most of the
realise it now.
stuff
That's so weird.
you don't use. So it's
Yeah.
it was a waste of time technically because whenever you move in here, that's when you actually start thinking, oh, I literally can't speak English. You know, it's more like, oh, my name is this, and I have 3 cats and 3 dogs. But it's nothing, not relative to like going to school, opening a book, and you being able to actually understand what you're reading.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, we know language is a barrier, but I mean, in terms of like daily routines, is there something that you go through at home that you just we don't even like pay any attention to?
In terms of like maybe organisation as well.
I mean, yeah,
Religion.
organisation. That's kind of
Religion is definitely
a
one.
key one.
Yeah, it's definitely a
I don't
key
think
one.
it's taken as seriously in England
No.
at all.
We don't
Right.
work in Poland on Sundays because everyone goes to church. You need to go to church.
I barely even know
Really?
what like.
Yeah. Like people don't work. If they do
Yeah.
work, the
Who
church
work on
is like
Sunday?
open
No one
4
work.
times a day. So you go if you work in the morning, it's about the evening. But you need to go.
Okay, so we could say routine and religion would be another
Yeah, but
another
if you're
major
talking
barrier.
to some of the managers, that oh, you can open Sundays, you
Yeah,
need to go
and
to
you
church,
think,
blah,
well-
blah, blah. The manager will start telling you that there's no way you can see Jesus. If you're sitting down, you can see Jesus, and that's not how it's supposed. They should give you time to go to church,
Yeah.
and if you start complaining, they might like stop giving you shit for things.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
that's another that's
You know
another
what
reason
I
why it
also
could be a
think
barrier.
that could be a barrier? Like, what is the difference? I think the difference is the actual respect you pay to food.
The
Yeah.
Like
To actual
Muslim country?
food, like in Poland not Muslims is one, but like in Poland we quite appreciate what you have.
Alright,
You know?
okay.
And the amount of food that you're throwing away in here, I even find it in my family that we just keep throwing food stuff.
yeah.
We don't basically eat, we buy too much. And
Oh.
it's like a day-to-day thing, which in Poland you don't find that. Because people, you know, whatever they actually buy, they go to use it. That's it.
Okay. I
It's
mean,
like some people
would that
pray
come
before
under
they
like
eat, like-
hygiene or etiquette or
Etiquette probably.
Yeah.
Appreciation. Value.
Value.
yeah.
Beliefs as well, possibly. That,
Indeed.
you know.
I mean, another thing would be like, there's one they always go on about is like promptness and stuff. I mean, is there a necessity
Yeah, but
like it is here to be really like punctual
Punctuality.
and prompt on time and all that stuff, or is that something you kind of see as more vague?
Yeah. Late for, well, I know this from last year, late for one culture is late is
Yeah.
completely different from another culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
trying to think.
England is maybe.
Like in Africa, there's something we call it African time,
Yeah.
because in Africa we
Yeah.
don't keep to time at
I
all.
know.
And we always like when you are going to see someone, that person will have to remind you that no African time. That means you mustn't come late. But in this country, when they tell you two is two, you mustn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Time to is
Yeah.
another
I
thing.
mean, is
So
that something that's the
That's
same in
very
Malaysia,
important.
or is it more like here, everyone wants you to
You
be?
mean punctuality?
Yeah.
Um,
Do you work on African time, or
no, I think
is it
normal
more
time.
like if you say 7:30, you mean?
Yeah, 7:30, yeah.
7:25.
Maybe I'm just 2 minutes late.
So you.
That's
I've got the right
nice.
name. I haven't got the right name.
I gave it to someone.
No, you have
No,
Oh,
to.
sorry,
you
so
keep
I
that
got the
then.
wrong gender. Sorry. Yes, you did, but you shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I thought, oh no.
'Cause you
I
need to
didn't
keep-
notice.
you need
to
to
keep
keep it
that
for
thing,
next
we
week.
mark it ourselves. We actually inside of it to market things.
What about like when?
But you don't mark it yet. You don't open it yet.
Next week we did.
Next week.
Oh, I gave it in to Jess.
I know you did.
What about like hours? Is that the same?
Yeah, I mean,
9 to 5.
in a working
hours?
day, would you usually
Yeah, 9 to
do-
5. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, 9 to 5.
Yeah. And well, in our case, in my case, it's all the same. So you can even have night shifts. You can go for first shift, second, third.
Yeah.
It's all the same depending on the company.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing. If someone asks you to work late, so after 5 o'clock, if they ask you to work from 5 to 8 o'clock in the evening, would that be something that it's just like you wouldn't want to do because that's you're not used to doing that as a cultural thing, or is that something that you're kind of used to having to
No,
do?
you get paid once after 5 overtime.
Overtime.
Yeah, overtime. Yeah, OT.
Yeah.
You get paid, so it's up to you if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're used to having that prospect of working overtime. Is that the same?
As long as
No.
it's paid. It's only in Africa we don't work nights. It's only all these security.
Yeah.
That they listen to.
Okay, so that'd be another boundary that we would have to overcome is sort of daily time constraints, I guess, like routines and timings, I guess.
Well, in Poland they would normally do overtime, but then us is quite like a family, like it's quite family-based country. So they normally just think, well,
Okay,
it's
so you
just
do it
like,
more
oh,
as like a
sorry, we
favour.
can't, I can't, because I'm picking up my child, or I can't.
And that's
Okay.
the acceptable excuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 'cause
Okay.
they're very family.
See, depending on where you worked over here, they wouldn't see that as viable. They want you to get someone else to do that for you, so you can
Yeah.
work.
I guess I can.
Which obviously would tick you off.
Yeah.
But over here, we wouldn't see it as you being put out.
Yeah, I think in Poland people are a bit more understanding. They're like a bit more laid back. So, like, oh, okay, if it's an emergency, you need to go. You know, which in here, I'm sorry, that's your contract. Everything is based on contracts and agreements.
There is very little sort of flexibility, I think, in a workplace.
Yeah.
In
I think that's like individualism in life. Something about communities and stuff
yeah,
like
the
that.
fundamental issue, like what you're talking about is there is more family-based in Poland. So you score much lower in Hofstede's individualism scale than some of the UK would. And I imagine in
Up
UK
there at
you score
89.
even lower again. But I don't know. You'd have
I'll
to check
print it
it
out next week.
Yeah,
Before
no,
next
print it
week.
out. Just if you can, just stick it up on the Google Drive thing. So we
Okay.
can,
I think the other thing is
I'll
like
print
for
out
our
anyway some
focus for our video
Okay.
is like we're addressing that this is the culture in UK and this is our norms, but it's also trying to create an environment that's good for everyone. I think that's
We
the success.
can't just say you're
You've
not
gotta
going to
conform
get
to us.
anywhere by saying you have to abide, you have to learn the UK's culture, you have to respect all these aspects we have in our culture, because that isn't going to work. You're not going to want to stay in a workplace which is so completely different to you. So
You need to have the ability to actually compromise.
That's what I was going to say. I was thinking about that word.
Yeah, that's probably one of the key opening points we can have in our presentation is saying
Even on the poster.
it's important to understand the culture which you live in and work in, but equally it's as important for those people who grew up in that culture to understand the culture they have around them, so that we're not putting, like, for instance, we're not making you work on Sundays all the time and you have like religious commitments, that kind of stuff, because that's something we just wouldn't pay that much
Yeah, it goes
attention
back to understanding culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what, I was thinking, I just had
That
to
could
think
be
about
a-
the poster, that because I actually stick individual words, like quite strong as compromise, and explain them as we go through
Yeah.
the poster, but I'm talking about individual words instead of like
Yeah.
paragraphs.
Yeah.
So in that case, each of us could link into one word and
Yeah.
try to explain it in what we mean, why did we stick it up there.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because I think the worst thing you can do with a poster especially is cover every single square inch of it in writing, and
Yeah.
have people can't read it, can't see it, and then you end up just dictating what you've written on there, because that doesn't help or aid anything
No.
really. I mean, people, as soon as people see that, they'll switch off. So I mean, if like you said, if we just go with the big keywords that we find, then we'll just like annotate those or just talk about them as we come
Yeah.
to them. I think is a much better way of doing it, and a better communicative way of doing it.
Yeah, we could also, obviously, all the words that all the barriers that we're going to come up with next week, that could be another thing that
Yeah.
will go on it. So language barrier, this barrier, just.
Yeah. I think first of all, what we need to do is identify the key barriers that we'll find.
Yeah.
I think that's a good starting place, and then from there we can kind of get more of an aimed goal of where we want to like head at with the video.
What I would also say with barriers, like I would say, look outside the box. Just don't look at the like key barriers that we already know about,
Yeah.
that we already come with, and just write 5 to 7. That's it.
Yeah.
Look at something completely different, like
Yeah.
that you wouldn't normally think about. So that page would be brilliant for.
Yeah, I mean this is just quite good at putting it into sort of key categories, but like I said, I mean it's got some flaws, it's quite outdated, but it's a good starting point.
Talking
Yeah.
to friends and family, it might also trigger other things that you
Yeah,
think
because
about.
they would experience, like say your parents have only ever come over to the UK for holidays or something and never lived here, you'd have more of an understanding of our culture than they would, so they'd see more of the differences and a higher contrast than you would. So I think if you can just,
Yeah.
it's probably, I mean you probably understand it perfectly well yourselves, but they'll have some probably quite decent insights into how different the cultures are, stuff that you wouldn't have even thought because you've been working here, living here for a few years now. Yeah.
Can I make a move?
Yeah,
Can
sure, go on.
I've got a hospital appointment.
Oh, have you?
Is that?
What was that trigger word? Because
Thank
it
you.
mentioned.
Is that
or
okay?
was there
Thank you.
like-
Compromise?
Okay.
Right, so just basically just the barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Should I
also
put it?
actually-
Should I put it on Google Drive or should we?
Yeah.
Alright.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Yeah.
Wow, it's going on anyway.
I think that was a good
Yeah,
headline today,
definitely.
Yeah.
I think like we actually made progress. It feels like we
Yes,
actually
we
moved
need to, you know.
from
Yeah.
here to here, and we technically all of us know roughly what we're doing.
Yeah.
To get on with it.
I think at some point we should start writing our own pieces of work as well, sticking
Yes.
them in the so we can start collaborating on
Yeah,
actual projects.
Yeah. Don't forget about referencing that, please. One thing,
Yeah.
because we need to go back into it and look for the reference. It
Yeah.
takes ages.
Whatever
Whenever
you
you write
find,
something,
just jot the
stick
reference
the
somewhere.
reference
It
there.
doesn't have to be on Google Drive. Make sure you got it somewhere, because I don't have to go back and re-find it. 'Cause
Yeah.
That takes more time than writing it.
Do you want to meet next week, like we met today, before the actual?
That's another thing. I wish I said that before I answered.
And we can pop that on.
And
Facebook.
I'll
Yeah.
make sure it's not yours, so.
I know. I also know Naomi struggles with staying later, so I think.
Alright, got no problem with that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that we can't just keep having meetings where she's not going to be able to attend them, because that's not really.
Oh, she can
that's not
attend the
right.
lecture, can she?
Yeah, I mean this one we shouldn't have a problem with.
Yeah.
But I think we need at least an hour.
Yeah.
Not here.
During the week.
Yeah. That's
Right,
okay.
so after this session, we cannot do. So
No,
this day's out.
I know she's got troubles doing the because she's got to get back to Livingston in London.
Okay.
What about just that hour before? Is that possible?
Oh, what about a different day? I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
the
she's
reason why
always free. I think she's always free Monday, Tuesday.
the reason I'm saying a
Okay,
different
well, I
day
can do
is
any time sort of before the evening on Monday.
Yeah, me too.
Are you available on Monday?
No.
Okay. Well, we need to speak to Naomi about her timetable, but if we can just get a time of us 5 now, because I think Alex would probably be quite easy.
yeah,
I think.
he's got the same
But-
lectures as me because we
Okay.
both do marketing.
Okay, so if you've got a spare.
Right,
moment, he's probably got a spare
Thursday
moment.
morning. What about Thursday morning? I'm talking
I got class.
what
at 10.
time? 10.
Yeah.
10
till 7.
Oh.
I got 3 modules. Yeah, 3 modules.
Okay.
On Thursday.
Is anyone's Friday?
Yeah,
Any good?
Friday is
I
fine.
can lecture from I
Morning.
think 1 to 3.
Okay, can we do
Friday morning.
I got business and finance.
When?
Morning, 10 to 12.
So I've got to leave at Westwood till 11 o'clock.
To 12 with
Right, Tuesday, I'm all day in the year.
Yeah,
but
I
3
got no
hours
class
break.
on Monday and Tuesday, so.
Okay, so I can do Tuesday.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah, I
Tuesday.
can do Tuesday from at 1.
1 o'clock, so
Yeah,
Tuesday
anytime.
midday.
No, I can do Tuesday. Tuesday I'm all day in here. I've got lecture from 9 till 11. Then I've got 3 hours break till 2, and then I've got lectures again till 4.
Okay, can we do 12 till 1?
Yeah.
12 to 1. Is that now?
That's an hour.
No? I don't
I
know.
mean, we
Yeah.
can stay longer if people can.
Mhm.
I think maybe the point of this, because it's a bit hard to schedule everyone, is to get down what we need to do individually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're just using this as bringing it all together.
Okay.
But
Well,
if
technically we all discussed we all know
Yeah.
now what we need
Yeah.
to do individually. So my question is there a point of meeting? If not, can we just do it the same thing as we done today? So meet instead of half an hour, meet an hour earlier before the lecture, as you said, because that's the only time that all of us are
Okay,
actually
okay,
available.
okay.
yeah, then
Yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
in that case, on that hour, we can just see like, okay, I did this. What do you think? You
Yeah.
know, I done
Yeah.
this, I done this. What to do next?
Mhm.
I mean, that works for me. I think
But let's do instead of doing half an hour, let's do an
No,
hour.
no, yeah, no,
An hour and a
no,
half.
no.
we need longer
I
than
don't
half an
know.
hour.
Can everyone do an hour and a half?
You mean
Well-
before the lecture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means so.
I can
but that's
I'll
only-
struggle to make an hour, but
I got seminar to 11 to 12, so I'm free from 12 to 1.
yeah.
Yeah, 12 to 1 I think should be just
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
perfect.
I mean, if everyone's done their work and we know where we're going,
Yeah.
we probably shouldn't need more than an hour. But
Yeah.
worst case
Okay.
scenario.
But we still need to film, record, everything.
Yeah, we do.
Video.
Right. In that case, I'm going to.
Which means we probably need a room.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm actually going to book the study room out upstairs in library.
Okay.
For next week.
Yes, I'm going to
Okay.
book a study room for next
About what
week.
you said
12
about the
o'clock.
role play, are we still going to do it, like get us something before next week?
Yeah, once we
Um,
come out with the barrier, then we have to start filming, I guess.
I would quite like to start making the video next week. Once we've got the key barriers and stuff we
Yeah.
want to address, I think we should start trying to focus our talks around that.
Yeah, what I would say as well, possibly next week, should we just create a decent, like detailed plan for the video, so stage by stage,
Yeah.
saying what are we actually going to do, putting it down.
Yeah.
We'll obviously write it in minutes. In that case, you can post it into the Google Drive, and then either the week after, or we can arrange some other time and just start video.
I think our focus, just because next week's going to be week 5, week 6 is when our post is due.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
alright.
maybe next week is our focus is getting that poster.
Poster.
And then once that's finished,
Then we
then
can start
we've
filming.
got 3 weeks to do that presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I'm
probably
going
better
to.
layout.
I'm going to do make a start of the poster, as I said. I'll get the paper because I want to get a big paper, colorful as well. And I'll bring that all in, and I made a note of the actual keywords. So I'll try to like write that down, print that out already, so we can actually start laying it out on the
Okay.
actual poster.
Yeah. I like stuff like identifying, understanding,
Yeah.
key barriers,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then I don't know, maybe a few suggestions
Okay.
in there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to write the paper, but I'm not going to like actually do anything into it.
To
Okay.
just clarify again, this poster, it's like informative. It's like when you do a report, you're like, well, this is my project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I think are we allowed to ask you about that?
No.
Yeah, but turn the camera off. I hate the sound of my own voice, you see. I'm gonna start talking to you. Yeah, what's the question?
The